Hey guys, Legendary Grimlock here, and today we're going to be doing Can Total Drama Survive the Moorwen? So, what does this entail? And if you guys don't know how I do these survival, videos when it comes to like teams and stuff, you see, when it comes to teams, I like to focus on the interactions they have with each other, their chemistry, and obviously their compatibility. And with the Moorwen being an apex predator from an unknown planet from the Outlander movie, being capable of destroying a city, we're gonna relegate it to how it was in the movie. Basically, it was hunting down the humans or hunting down anyone it felt like. And we're gonna make it a hypervore in this one, as it kind of suits it. So we'll give it the Tiger X diet, if you will. So we'll be putting this location on Palanai. All right, we'll be giving them full access to the map, so they're able to like pull the map and stuff up and stuff like that. And the Moorwen, and they'll know the Moorwen is there on the island, but they don't know what it can do, and they will know it's hunting. And for those who don't know what the Moorwen can do, he has a bioluminescent glow and a whip-like tail that can actually cut through metal. And his hide is so durable that natural earth metals back in medieval times couldn't cut its skin. So again, they're dealing with an alien that's hunting them with the diet level of Tiger X, meaning he's going to need a lot of meat to sustain himself. Now, as for the team, we're going to be using the Screaming Gophers for this one. So this team will consist of Izzy, Trent, Cody, Heather, Justin, Owen, Noah, Gwen, Lashana, Lindsay, Beth, and, well, that's pretty much it. So the reason why I'm choosing this team for this one is because it actually has the most, in all honesty, it has the most negative chemistry in my opinion. Now, do I think these guys could overcome this negative chemistry? In my honest opinion, it is a 50-50 chance that they could do it. But you might say, why am I not including the Killer Bass or the entire group here? Number one, I'm going to focus on this video in a narrative sense, kind of like all horror movies. But I do have the Killer Bass planned for the next Total Drama video, where they'll be going through the Finding Bigfoot 4.0 experience, right? So with that being said here, the team's chemistry and interactions are definitely going to be an all-time high here. They'll, we'll keep them as the same they were throughout the entirety of the Total Drama, honestly, seasons. I think season 1, where they were there, and then you had Total Drama live action, or Total Drama, Total Drama live action, and then Total Drama World Tour. So we'll be keeping them as the same interactions as they had with this here. They'll also have access to the boats and access to the safe zones. And again, remember, there are no zombies here. This is an abandoned island. We'll say the Moorwen caused so much havoc, it caused the entire island to evacuate, leaving the Screaming Gophers here to basically survive on this island, and whoever survives or escapes the island wins $1 million. All right, so the Moorwen itself is actually a very adaptive predator. Let's talk about that real quick. In the Outlander movie, and I had to rewatch it, I suggest you guys go watch it yourself. It's I think it's a peak movie, definitely a 9 out of 10. All right. The Moorwen was capable of actually swimming and snatching people through the water, and is actually he can hunt in both day and night. All right, but it's a very cunning and a very intelligent predator, to the point where you could actually say it's somewhat on the level of humans, if not sometimes better, especially during medieval times, because humans back then weren't really too smart back then. So the Moorwen having a bioluminescent glow, having a whip-like tail that can pretty much shred humans like a hot knife through butter. This thing is about to clean here. So where would I say the Total Drama crew starts off? We're going to say that they all enter the island, via one of Chris McClane's boats or whatever. He throws them on there with their luggage and everything, and they go to the Paradise Survival Camp. Now, the Paradise Survival Camp is one of the first starting points in Dead Island Riptide, where you basically go to. It's basically your main camp throughout the whole thing. Now, after the group gets established, I think they would probably have to establish a team leader. And obviously, I do think Heather would try to, take its toll or whatever, or at least try to take control of the team. And I do think this would have caused arguments and disturbances amongst the entire group here. Because again, remember, in Total Drama, nobody liked Heather. Nobody trusted Heather. And after what she did to Lindsay and Beth, they don't like nor trust her. Albeit Lindsay is still kind of an idiot, but I don't know how she remembers that. But yeah, it is what it is here. But the Paradise Survival Camp will have all the things they need there, except for, you know, the car. You know, we're giving them access to boats, not cars. So they're going to have to hoof it if they want to. So they'll be there, and I do think they're going to start arguing. The reason why I think they'll start arguing is over just the pettiness or even the, like, smallest things or whatever. And the reason why I'm saying that is because Lashana and Heather got into it over her moving her stuff. And again, Heather didn't need to do that. And again, the beef between her, Lashana, and Gwen is definitely, I guess you could say, a bit lower than normal. But again, they don't tolerate each other that much here. And I think that would get the Moorwen to know their location a whole lot faster than I think the Killer Bass would have. I think the Killer Bass actually might do a little bit, actually would probably do a lot better, especially with the team here. And then you would just, it kind of just goes to show you that the interactions they have here are just toxic. Even Justin, to a degree, with him trying to be manipulative with his looks here, is a very toxic character. However, I do think the group would have to settle on a team leader here. And I think that, again, I think that eventually it will probably come down to who makes the best decisions when the creature is there. But I do think this would probably cost him. Now, to see the reason why I think this would cost him is because I do think Heather would probably go at nighttime. The reason why I would say that is because she would probably think that, well, most of these creatures sleep at nighttime. And I do think most of the less intelligent members of the group would have to go with that. And again, they don't know how this creature works, so maybe, you know, providing by that, like most animals do sleep at night while most of them don't. However, I think this is when the Moorwen would obviously, you know, get them. I think the Moorwen would easily take advantage of that. And I think this would actually eliminate two people right off the bat. One of them is easily Owen. I think that's kind of simple. I think in the last Total Drama what if or survival video I did for them, Owen was like the first to die. And that was a couple of years back when I like first really started this channel. The reason why I say Owen is the first to die is because he is physically the slowest one out of the group here. Now again, this could potentially get Izzy killed, but I do think Owen would sacrifice himself for Izzy, or maybe Izzy would be crazy enough to actually try to fight the Moorwen, and then she would get killed first, and then that would leave Owen to, you know, get I guess to get eaten afterwards. Now, in all honesty, Owen's probably the nicest and kindest guy here. I do think he would probably, or more than likely, sacrifice himself for Noah. But overall, I do think the team does lose two members here, and I'm going with Izzy and Owen, simply because it's just more logical. Now, when they get to the Palanai village, I do think they would try to find the safest area to be in. And again, the Palanai village has water-like areas. This is somewhere the Moorwen could easily jump out and definitely snatch a lot more. And I think, again, this would be where other team members drop, specifically Lindsay and Beth. The reason why I say Lindsay and Beth is because Beth is kind of like Lindsay's, in a way, enabler, if you get what I mean. Like, she kind of enables her stupidity in a way. Meanwhile, they don't trust Heather, so I think Lindsay would be stupid enough to actually go out on her own, and Beth would try to get her back, and this winds up getting probably Beth snatched first through the water, or at least through a floorboard and then into the water, causing her to get ripped apart by the Moorwen. And then I would have Lindsay follow suit right after, or her probably like checking on Beth, asking if she's okay or whatever. But again, those two would die. I think the group would definitely hear their screams, but they would definitely be able to get to the safe zone after finding it, of course. Once they find it, again, this is where their break period will come, as the Moorwen has killed about 4 people. So we'll say he was dragging back all 4 of them to his den, where he's going to feast on them for a while. This gives them at least, I would say, a decent amount of time before they before they had to decide something. And I think overnight, while Heather, Justin, and Noah are sleeping, I do think that Trent, Gwen, and Lashana would realize they're probably the only ones that really trust each other in that entire group. Because again, this is all of the previous actions from Total Drama Island, tour, and live action. So these guys would pretty much trust each other a lot more than the others would, right? So I do think these three would be able to come up with a plan to where they would have to make it to Henderson. And I think they would do it I think they would actually do it in the least way possible. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about Cody as well. I can't believe I forgot about him. But Cody would not be a part of that group. Now, I do think that when they leave, I think the first thing in the morning is that Justin is probably going to notice this and then panic about it. The reason why I think he would panic about it is because, again, he's a very manipulative character, and he kind of feeds off of others, if you will. He's a leech. And I think after realizing that Gwen, Trent, and Lashana left, I think that this would actually, cause Heather to probably have like an outrage yell or whatever. And this would, again, cause the Moorwen to start going hunting. Now, the Moorwen does have two options here. And I think that the first person to realize this would be Heather. So with the amount of team members they have now and with the amount of members that they already just, lost with, again, Owen, Lindsay, Beth, and Izzy, I think that someone would definitely have to be sacrificed. And again, I think that Lashana, Trent, and Gwen would probably make it to the sewers where they would be able to barricade and cut off any areas that the Moorwen could possibly get through. Even though, again, the Moorwen is going to make it there because he is a very adept swimmer. So I think that in order to leave Halai, Heather would definitely suggest that they sacrifice one of them. And I think it would obviously be between Noah and Cody. And Noah would probably make the most logical argument that he is the smartest one of that group. I do think that's pretty simple here. I think that he would make that argument. And then when asking what they would contribute, I think Cody is probably the least contributive to this team here. And I think that they would probably do something along the lines of breaking his legs and throwing him into the danger zone. And then when the Moorwen comes, he's honestly just the sacrifice at that point. So unfortunately, Cody does bite the dust here. Now, making their way to the Pinal or the Pierre ferry station, I do think this is where Heather, Justin, and Noah would arrive via the boat. And they would meet Gwen, Trent, and Lashana. And I think at this point, let's give them a gun. I do think this is important here because as the groups would meet up, there would be some arguing, but they would have to come to the conclusion that this area is probably the safest place right now that they could, interact, or at least, make sure the Moorwen doesn't get them. And I do think Heather would be the first one to find the gun. And again, this is a narrative look. And I think this would actually give her a lot more power over the group here. And I think that it would definitely be a lot more, reasonable, or at least more of a power pull on her to use the gun to kind of make sure that she's in full control of this group. Now, I do think that searching the Pinal ferry station would be the most logical point here, and they would use a lot of things to barricade some of the entrances to the door. Let's say they still have the fences like in the original, right? So I do think they would use the fences to stave off any attacks from the Moorwen. And due to Noah's intelligence, they would be electrified. Now, I do think that Gwen, Trent, and Lashana would probably plan a way to either get Heather's gun or, or they would probably find a way to just, either confiscate and get rid of it so that at least their power is equal, or take that power for themselves. Now, again, I don't think they would do this immediately, as they do think it's very possible that she might use it to probably, shoot one of them, if it comes down to it, and leave their body for the Moorwen to eat. But again, I do think that, it would kind of make them, I guess you could say, a bit more submissive to Heather's demands, as they don't want to get shot and they don't want to get eaten alive. Because, again, Heather would do something like that. Now, I do believe that during nighttime, this is where we see the Moorwen's tail kind of take effect here. And I think it would definitely snatch Noah. in his sleep. And I think it would probably be one of the worst ways to go too. Like, imagine you're sleeping, but you feel like this sharp pain in your chest. You wake up, you see this 4-pronged tail in your chest, right? And then you're just like snatched through like this electrified fence that you pretty much created, right? Now again, this is very possible because the Moorwen is very capable of doing this. And I think that after that moment, they will probably get the ferry there a lot faster and then leave for Henderson. Now, again, Henderson does have areas where, you know, it's flooded. And again, these flooded areas can support the Moorwen. So again, with only 5 of them left now, let's see, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 of them left. They would probably make their way to a much safer point here. However, I do think Gwen, Trent, and Lashana would use this moment to, honestly, they would probably use the moment where they're going to the, whatchamacallit, the, I guess like the castle or whatever in Dead Island. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot the name. But yes, they would definitely use the stronghold to use their chance to kind of like slip out under the cover of night and definitely leave Justin and Heather. However, I do think this is when the Moorwen would definitely strike, as they knew they would have to take the risk of running into the Moorwen. And I do think the Moorwen would strike and probably get Trent. The reason why I say Trent is because he would probably be the one to make the actual noble sacrifice of the group here, giving Lashana and Gwen enough time to get into the facility long before the Moorwen has a chance to, you know, get to them. And I do think Lashana and Gwen would be the ones to honestly make it out. I really do. I do think they would be the ones to make it out here. And I think after realizing that they got the boat, Justin and Heather would definitely begin to panic and possibly, you know, turn on each other. They would probably make their way back to one of the smaller boats, and then they would have to, like, I think honestly they would fight over it, you know? It's just in character for them to fight over it, as they would probably have a limited amount of supplies and the boat would probably get them at least far enough from the island. However, I think it would probably just end with the Moorwen just like staring down at them as they fight over it. And once Heather realizes the bullets don't work, it's a wrap. So in all honesty, do I think that this team was the best choice? No. But was it fun for me? Yes. Just to really think about how these characters would interact with each other and how they would kind of just fall over each other, and how most of them can be friends, at least to the point where they'll stick together, and how most of them would interact in such a high-stakes situation. It actually makes me wonder how the killer bass would interact with Bigfoot here. So in all honesty, yeah, I only see Lashana and Gwen making it out from a narrative sense. From a natural sense, I do think a lot of them die. I do think a lot of them. But I still think that at least 2 of them would make it. But hey, let me know what you guys think down below. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Peace.